welcome back to Paper Therapy with Amy. If you have not watched the video just before this one, go watch that video and then come back here and then you'll see how I got this far. And then you can see the continuation of how I'm going to finish this. So yeah, if you haven't watched the video that I put out on Tuesday night, just before this video, it should be, and I'll link it down below as well, then go watch that one and then come back to watch this one. And if you have watched it, then here is how far I got on the last video. And you can see I've kind of tried to make a gray panel that kind of tucks in behind here, but it's empty behind. And these are just strips as well. So like this, and I've already tried to paint a few of the leaves on the strips, and I think that's working out well. So I'll show you how I did that right away. And I do want to ink the edges, and then I did sand this one a little bit. I showed you that. And then this was just laying on my desk, and it has kind of a design that works. So I'm going to add that as well, I think. Just the one strip and kind of have it sitting in the middle here underneath these photos, because these are my focal kind of photos. And then I have a few more photos to add as well. I was trying to decide whether I wanted this right to the ends or if I want to dovetail, and I think I want to dovetail it. So I think I'm just gonna do that right now. So this is how I dovetail. I eyeball the center, or you can look like this, because this one's almost 3, so I would go to 1.5-ish. But usually I just eyeball it, kind of like that. And I don't go too deep because I like a very shallow dovetail. I don't like them to be super deep. That's why I probably won't buy the dovetail punch, because I think I'll end up recutting the dovetails if I do that. So, okay, another thing I want to do with this layout is I do want to ink around all the edges. And I usually do that with charcoal ink, but you could use any kind of gray ink. If you have an older ink pad that's starting to dry out, these are the good ones to use for this, because they're often open on your desk a lot, but they still work great for this. And even though I sanded this one a bit, I think I'm going to ink it as well, because I just like that shadow that it gives it. I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on how you paint in the leaves on this paper. I have Lost Lagoon here, and you just squeeze the ink pad so you get a little in the top of the ink pad, and then you can squeeze for a bit of water, but you don't want much water, because if you use too much water, your paper will buckle. It can handle a little bit though. So I'm just kind of watercoloring in with little brush strokes the leaves. I'm doing that with Lost Lagoon on the bottom of the narrow leaves, and then towards the top I'm using, I think, Close to My Heart Sage. And then I'm just using a pink, any pink would probably do, a light pink, just to kind of give a little bit of pinkness to the bottom of the fatter leaves. And I just kind of did all the same shaped leaves, the same color. So it looks like there's 2 different colors happening on this paper. And I think it just looks like the paper was printed like this. You can't even tell that I did this. To clean the water brush, you want to get a white piece of paper or a light colored piece of paper or a piece of paper towel. Squeeze a little water into the end, and then just paint on a paper towel or white paper until it is clear. You just saw me do it there. I finished this one off to place here. I was actually going to come farther over here, but it's glued down, so I'm going to work with it the way it is. And I think this white space will be nice for some flourishes. I did want to show you how I do this. So I create my own sanding disc things. I use an old, I use an old sponge, and then I just glue this, and then I put it under something heavy overnight, and it's a sanding disc. So I just punch a circle out of sandpaper. So when you emboss, it's nice to do this, because then you can kind of see a little bit more of that embossing around the edges. Of course, if you're going to do this, you do need the white core paper. Okay. Center that on there. Okay, and then you can see I have to hide that, so it'll be something like this. And then I want to have some journaling and some different layers behind here. I remembered that in my stash, I have some layering items that I bought and I sorted them all out. So here's all the neutral colored ones. I had some green, but the green didn't match at all. So this is the neutral, and I can just take a bunch of these out of here. And these are all just layering bits. This is a little bit too bold for me for today. These are from 49 and Market, and I had a bunch of different ones in different colors. I had bought them together with a friend and we had divided them up because there was 2 of everything. And then I sorted mine into color groups. So mine are in baggies in either pinks or blues or whatever color. And this is my neutral pack. I am going to be adding some leaves and sprigs as well. You can see them off to my right there. And so I end up just choosing to use the one little file tab or whatever that's in there, that one that I'm holding. I think I'm just going to use that one and write a little journaling. I was thinking about making journaling that I could pull out and put back in, but I really don't have a lot to say about this park because it was just an old church that had burnt down and they chose to leave these stone parts standing and create a garden in there. I also have what looks like a metal grate. It is a chipboard piece. It's also from 49 and Market. And I wanted to use it on this layout because it fits really well with the pictures. I'm going to cut it from corner to corner because that way I have 2 pieces and I can use 1 piece on each side of the page. I also used the Alamode alphabet to cut out St. Dunstan's. St. Dunstan, that was the name of this church. But when I laid them on there, I didn't like them because I didn't feel they stood out enough. So I ended up just typing up my name, it's called St. Dunstan in the East, this church. And I ended up typing it up and just using kind of an timey font and using a blending brush and ink. I inked around the edges and left the inner part a little bit lighter. Then I flagged the ends so that it can just be another one of those banners across the bottom with the title on. It's smaller, but I feel like it's big enough. I had tried printing out a little scrolly thing to put underneath there, which would have been fine, but then I decided to cut this corner to corner. I decided I didn't need the little scrolly thing that I had printed. So I'm just going to tuck this up underneath it, and that gives the title a little bit more presence on the page. I'm also going to add some leaves in that area. The different leaves I'm using are, this one here I cut from the patterned paper just so I could bring a little bit more of that patterned paper look onto the right-hand page. I'm only going to use it in this cluster here. And then I have the Forever Fern Stampin' die set. It's retired, but I used the standalone die to cut the green leaves, and then the Lost Lagoon leaves I stamped and cut with the dies. I had made a list of things I wanted to see in London that were things that I found on Instagram that were actually free to go and see. And my husband and I knocked them all out in the first evening that we were there, just about, because they were kind of all in the same area, and we just walked from one thing to the next and ended up walking all the way back to where we were staying. But we had just been in a plane for 8 hours, so we really wanted to walk around. This garden was just so charming, or a park or a garden. There were people sitting there reading books, and it was just a really neat way to preserve the architecture from a building that had suffered a fire. Once I get these arranged how I like them, I will probably move them out of the way and do some stamping in behind. I do have a damask stamp that is from the beautiful Motifs, I believe, and that's the stamp set, and it's just kind of like a peeling piece of wallpaper. I'll show it to you in a moment, and I want to put that in the background with some pink, just to bring the pink up to the top of the page. And then I'm also going to possibly stamp a few little black leaves right on the very background. Here is that stamp set, beautiful Motifs, and I'm going to add a little bit of that one stamp to the background of my clusters to bring that pink up to the top of the page and to add a little interest to those clusters. It's definitely always a little nerve-wracking to stamp right on your background page, but what's nice about this particular stamp, and I do miss a little spot here on the first time I stamped it, what's nice about it is it looks kind of natural, and I'm going to put leaves over top, so I should be able to hide it. Plus, it's a very light color, so it's not as noticeable when it's not perfect. I'm adding a few of these to this side as well. I'm not going to add any to the bottom because you won't notice them anyway where the title is. So that's my 3 embellishment clusters on the right, on the left, and on the bottom. I also have this Botanical Notes stamp set, and I do want to add a stamp of that to the background too. I had stamped it on a piece of paper first and cut it out loosely and put it back there, and I liked how it looked, so I'm just going to add it in. This one I'm doing in a black, but it's not a very dark black, so it's more almost like a dark charcoal gray. I did make a little mistake here and get a little dot of black ink where I didn't want it, so I just take my white gel pen and dot the white gel pen on top, and you can't see it at all. I also added a few leaf sprigs to this side. I started with one at the top here, and then I also added one onto the green. I won't make you watch me get everything perfectly back in place, but I added a few of the pressed flower motifs, and I'm going to call this layout done. If you liked watching it come together, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that. And I want to thank everyone for stopping by and spending the time here watching me scrapbook. I hope it inspires you. And together with the last video, I hope it really helps you to decide which photos to print in what size and what papers to use to scrapbook your memories. I'll catch you next time here on YouTube. Bye.